This CCTV footage was captured inside an office complex after hours. The kind of place that feels different once everyone's gone home. According to employees, what was recorded that night was disturbing enough that several people seriously considered calling in sick the next day. The building was empty. No staff, no movement, just the cameras watching. At first, it's only a desk lamp flickering through the doorway of a dark room. Then suddenly, the room lights up. Out of nowhere. Seconds later, a set of desk drawers violently slides open and shut. The lamp begins flickering again. More lights snap on. A red door slowly moves on its own. Then the desk shifts again before the lights start flickering one last time. And just before the door moves, something else appears. A tall, dark shape reaching outward. Not shaped like any shadow in the room. So was it just electrical issues stacking up at the worst possible moment? Or something else entirely? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. One morning, Cal woke up to the sound of voices coming from somewhere inside his house. Not loud, not clear. Just enough to pull him out of sleep and make him listen. Watch closely. At first, he did what most people would do. He searched the house, room by room, looking for anything that could explain the noise. No television was on, no phone playing audio, no neighbors nearby. Nothing that made sense. But when he reached the basement door, the situation shifted. Viewers, who later reviewed the clip, say they heard a young girl's voice quietly whispering, "He's coming." Cal doesn't have any children, and there were no kids anywhere near the house that morning. Several people urged him not to respond out loud, especially in the moment. Some believe acknowledging unexplained voices can make the activity worse. For now, Cal still can't explain what he heard. Just a voice that shouldn't have been there, and a house that, after weeks of silence, suddenly felt very active. Paranormal Witnesses is a TikTok channel based in England, and the people behind it are no strangers to creepy investigations. For months, they have been documenting unsettling encounters by stepping straight into abandoned, decaying locations in search of real paranormal evidence. In this particular case, the two investigators position themselves inside the living room of a house long rumored to be home to something dark, something sinister. And while they attempt to make contact, their camera captures a moment that is genuinely hard to explain. See for yourself.
This is a child here. Come on in, come and open and come and play. Give you full permission to open these drawers up. These cabinets. Thank you.
Thank you. Look at that on top of the cabinet.
Right on top of the cabinet there, guys.
Thank you.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Thank you.
Tom, I pushed that in, lock shut, click shut. Oh my god. Thank you.
Mods, please can we get 1 hour straight?
Mods, please can we get 1 hour and 35 minutes? Thank you very much. Both investigators remain completely still, sitting in silence, as they try to provoke a response from whatever may be inside that house. Then, without warning, one of the small cabinet doors on the TV stand suddenly swings wide open, all by itself. The movement looks smooth, deliberate, almost as if something unseen pulled it from the inside. To rule out a trick, the footage is later enhanced and zoomed in closely around the handle and the hinges. But even with a tighter look, there is no visible string, no wire, and no obvious mechanism that could explain the movement. Which is exactly why clips like this pull so much attention, because once a solid object moves on its own, with no clear cause, it starts to feel less like a prank and more like possible poltergeist activity. So what do you think? Was this a real paranormal moment caught on camera, or a setup meant to fool viewers? A group of friends had gathered for what was supposed to be a simple house party. While waiting for the rest of their guests to arrive, a few of them stepped outside to pass the time, joking around and playing games in the yard. Everything felt normal, until one of them noticed something in the darkness. Watch closely.
What? Did you see that?
For just a split second, something appears. It's large, dark, and unmistakably has horns. Whatever it was close enough to be seen clearly, and close enough to make everyone freeze. The party ended immediately. Everyone went back to their own homes, locked their doors, and the night was over before it ever really began. After the video went viral, reactions were divided. Some viewers claimed they had seen similar footage online, describing the same horned silhouette appearing in backyards, wooded areas, and along rural roads, always briefly, always watching. Others argued it had to be a prank, suggesting one of the friends might have been wearing something to scare the group. But no one has ever come forward to take credit. So until more footage surfaces or more sightings are reported, whatever appeared that night remains unexplained. What do you think? Was it just a prank caught at the perfect angle? Or something that didn't want to be seen for long? This footage was recorded inside a man's studio, a place that had already started raising questions even before the morning this video was made. One night, after realizing he'd forgotten his phone charger, he returned to grab it. As he approached the entrance, something briefly peeked through the blinds. But when he went inside, there was nothing there. No movement. No one hiding. Then a second incident followed. Around 5 a.m., his uncle, who lives on the other side of the studio, called to say the bathroom door had been making noise all night, loud enough to keep him awake. So he went back early that morning to check. This is what he found.
Miren. Ven cómo se abre la persiana. Dicen un hilo. ¿Cómo puede hacer un hilo a eso? Sinceramente, miren. 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 No me chingues. No me chingues. Eso ya. No, espérate. No, ya me tengo que ir. Es muy temprano para estas chingaderas. Miren, o sea, dicen un hilo. Chinga tu madre, a ver cuál hilo puedo abrir y cerrar así de lado a lado. Miren cómo se mueve de aquí y de allá. Miren.
Once again, the blinds were moving on their own, slowly, deliberately. After working up the nerve, he stepped inside and began checking the studio, every corner, every room, expecting to find someone hiding somewhere. Watch closely.
Bueno, bien helado. Miren. Lo que se alcanza a ver es... Miren. ¿Escuchan? Sí, como una risa.
There were no signs of a break-in, no open windows, no disturbed locks. But then, he heard something else. Laughter. After reviewing the footage, viewers began focusing on one detail. The bathroom mirror. Many believe mirrors can act as focal points, not just reflective surfaces, but places where activity gathers. Some think whatever peeked through the blinds that first night didn't enter the studio. It was already inside. Others believe the repeated movement of the blinds and the bathroom disturbances point to something trying to be noticed, but never fully revealing itself. A presence that watches, listens, and reacts when it knows it's being observed. And the laughter. That's what unsettled people the most. Because laughter implies awareness. It implies intent. So was this a prank? An intruder who vanished without a trace, or something else entirely? You decide. For quite some time, uneasy rumors have been spreading through a quiet neighborhood. The kind of stories people only share in lowered voices. Residents say that late at night, something moves slowly through the streets. Not rushing, not wandering aimlessly, but passing house by house, with an almost deliberate purpose. In some stories, it even stops outside certain homes, just long enough to peer through the windows, before disappearing again into the dark. At first, most people dismissed it as exaggeration or fear feeding fear, but once multiple neighbors began describing the same thing, the stories became much harder to ignore. And then one night, a man returning home from his night shift experienced something for himself, something that made those rumors feel a lot more real. He was already near his house, doing something completely ordinary, hanging up clothes outside so he would not have to rush the next morning, when he suddenly noticed a figure nearby. And what makes the moment so unsettling is not just the sighting itself, but how closely it matches what others in the area had already been saying. After showing the footage to his neighbors, Several of them claimed they had seen something similar before, something briefly appearing outside windows, watching in silence, and then vanishing before anyone could confront it. That is where the paranormal speculation begins. Some believe the figure could be tied to the history of the area, something older, something unresolved. Because if multiple people are seeing the same presence in different places, then it may not be moving in any normal physical way at all. And the detail that disturbs people most is the idea that it seems to look in through windows, because that suggests awareness, curiosity, maybe even intent. Since then, some residents have started digging into the past, hoping to find out whether something tragic happened there years ago. But until they uncover something concrete, and until there is a real explanation for what keeps being seen, this creepy case remains completely unsolved. Endos was home alone late at night, sitting at his computer when he heard something strange coming from outside his room. At first it was faint, almost like a voice, muffled and distant, the kind of sound you try to explain away as a neighbor, or something happening outside. Still, it bothered him enough that he reached for his phone and started recording. He steps outside briefly, scanning the area, then comes back in and slowly walks through the house, room by room, checking each space to prove that nothing is there. Everything feels normal again, quiet, almost uncomfortably calm. But when he enters his parents' bedroom, that feeling disappears. The wardrobe door in front of him begins to open on its own, slowly, creaking outward, as if someone were pushing it from the inside. Endos freezes, then backs away as the door continues to open with no one anywhere near it. He insists he was alone in the house, and there was no draft strong enough to cause it. After that night, he says he stopped sleeping in that room altogether, convinced that whatever made that noise earlier was waiting for him to come back. One family's nightmare began the night they heard someone knocking at their door, long after everyone in the house had gone to bed. At first, it could have been dismissed as a one-time disturbance, a random late-night noise, maybe even someone at the wrong house. But from that night on, everything changed. The knocking kept coming back, again and again, until it no longer felt accidental. It felt deliberate, like something had found their home and was waiting for the right moment to be let in.
No sé si se escuche. Oigan, como si estuvieran en la parte de enfrente. No mames. Son las 2 de la mañana. Uy, cabrón. Voy a buscar las llaves. No mames, está acá enfrente, ¿eh? Uy, uy. Sí, como... No mames. Ah, cabrón. No mames, cabrón.
Night after night, the knocking continued. Sometimes softer, sometimes harder, but never truly stopping. It became part of the family's routine of fear, always returning after dark. Then one particular night, the situation escalated beyond sound alone, because along with the knocking, they began hearing a voice.
Tranquila, ¿eh?
Johnny, ábreme, papi.
¿Qué quieres?
Johnny, por favor, ábreme.
Oye, ¿escuchas?
Ábreme ya. Apúrate, ándale.
¿Qué quieres?
Johnny. Johnny, ábreme.
No te voy a abrir.
Ábreme.
No te voy a abrir.
Ábreme ya.
Calma la niña. Tranquila, mami.
Ándale.
No te voy a abrir. Vete.
Johnny,
Oye, no manches, ¿viste?
ábreme.
Vete. Esto es impresionante. Lárgate, lárgate de aquí. No te voy a abrir, lárgate.
Por favor, ábreme.
Lárgate. Tú no perteneces aquí. Vete.
What appears outside is not just a figure, but something that looks exactly like his wife, standing where she absolutely should not be. A doppelganger. A perfect imitation. In many paranormal accounts, encounters like that are not seen as harmless coincidences, but as warnings. Entities taking on familiar forms to gain trust, to confuse, or to get inside. And as if that was not disturbing enough, the family soon begins hearing voices that sound like their older daughter as well, even when she is nowhere near the source.
Sí. Ceci. Ceci. Hey. Mira. Oye. Oye. Mira, asómate por la ventana despacito, ¿eh?
¿Por la qué?
Asómate por la ventana despacito. ¿Por la ventana? Sí. Mira. ¿Ya viste? ¿Ya viste?
Sí. No mames, güey.
Y nos está viendo.
No mames.
Espérate.
Cierra.
No, espérame.
Papi, cierra.
No,
Se está
espérame.
viendo.
Sí. Mira.
Empieza a sentir mal.
Tranquila, pero es que tranquila, o sea, mira. mames, ese es idéntico a ti.
Sí, ahora soy yo. No mames, pero mírala.
Es que no se mueve, ¿eh?
No, y nos está viendo. Ya cierra.
Espérame, quiero ver qué hace. Espérame, guarda silencio. Que le vas a despertar a la niña.
Sí.
No, hombre, sí está bien cañón, güey. Está muy fuerte, ¿eh?
Sí. Oye, tocaron.
Se escucharon golpes,
Se
¿verdad?
escucharon golpes.
A su máquina.
That suggests whatever is outside is not limited to one appearance or one voice, but may be capable of mimicking different members of the household. Although the knocking becomes less frequent over time, the fear never truly leaves. So they install security cameras, hoping to finally understand what is happening. Instead, they capture something even worse. Have a look. And according to the family, that decision changed everything. After that, the activity no longer seemed confined to the outside of the house. In this clip, they capture a figure sitting quietly in the living room, appearing to be their older daughter, calmly playing with a doll on a chair. At first glance, it might seem almost normal, except for one horrifying detail. Their real daughter is asleep beside them in the room, at that exact moment. What began as knocking outside the house has now become something inside it. What started as imitation has turned into presence. And now, the family is left in a situation where even recognizing who is real no longer feels certain. Until more updates come out, no one knows exactly what they may have let into that home. But whatever it is, it feels deeply, deeply wrong.
Ya es bastante tarde, vean en el primer piso la cámara nos empezó a detectar movimiento. ¿Qué crees que se hace? Sí?
Mames, es otra vez esa cosa. ¿Ya viste a quién se parece ahora? Mira, y con la muñeca, güey.
Oye, ya. Ya todos están dormidos, miren.
Por él que empezó a detectar, me desperté. Mira. Mira. La pena, no sé qué le hace. Oye.
Pues como una niña, ¿será que está imitando a Cari?
Ah, yo digo que sí.
Pero se le ve el rostro raro, ¿no?
Sí, no, o sea, no se ve bien, se ve como deforme. Mira, ya viste.
La neta, amigos, estamos bastante sacados de onda. Está muy cañón todo esto. La verdad, estoy sorprendido. Vean, voy a tener que bajarse, sí.
No,
Sí,
Cris,
dame la cámara.
¿te la doy?
Sí. Voy a ir con la cámara, chicos, para que... Aquí está mi hijo. Sí, tú tranquila. Chicos. No mames, güey. chicos. Por aquí vi que se metió. Pero no hay nadie. Ve. A la máquina.
Nate, the same man who's been documenting something repeatedly peeking out from his basement, along with a voice that almost always whispers in his recordings, noticed something different one night. His dog began acting strangely, pacing back and forth, whining, constantly glancing toward the kitchen, as if trying to warn him that something wasn't right. At first, Nate brushed it off, until the dog suddenly bolted out of the kitchen and ran straight to the couch. It froze there, staring toward the kitchen, refusing to move. Watch closely.
So, the dog was freaking out. She was trying to alert me to something in the kitchen. She started walking to the kitchen. She got to about right by the basement. And then something spooked her because she yelped and ran onto the couch and has been sitting here ever since, watching over at that spot. What'd you see? What is it? Tell Daddy. What'd you see? Where is it? Guys, always trust your guts. She got to like right here. Nothing in here. She is like following something. I don't know what she's following. I'm not sure what that was. No f***ing way. No f***ing way. I do not want you here. You are not allowed here.
Animals don't second-guess what they sense, and dogs don't react like this without a reason. What happens next is what truly changes the tone of this situation. Up until now, whatever Nate had been dealing with stayed mostly subtle. Whispering voices, brief movements, objects shifting just slightly. Because of that, many believed it could be a woman's spirit, especially with the soft whispers heard in earlier clips. Some thought she was trapped, confused, maybe even trying to find peace. But this time, something crossed a line. A knife was thrown. That single moment forced many to rethink everything. A presence trying to communicate doesn't usually escalate to weapons. So is this still the same spirit we featured on this channel before? Or something far more dangerous? For the past few weeks, things inside Nate's home have been unusually quiet. But anyone familiar with paranormal cases knows, long periods of silence don't always mean it's over. Sometimes they mean something is building,